This is Sam and Joku, host of the Ravens Talk podcast. Draymond Jones is the Baltimore Raven. The Ravens do make that trade. Finally, the Ravens have been waiting for what this could mean for the Ravens moving forward.
And just because the Ravens traded for Draymond Jones does not mean they're done. I'm Kevin Oestreicher, the host of Locked On Ravens. Deadline still Tuesday. What other moves could the Ravens make? We talk about that and so much more coming up on the Locked On Ravens Squad Show.
Rise and shine. It's the Ravens Squad. Everything Baltimore Ravens every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the heart of Charm City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Flock together and squad up. The Ravens Squad Show starts now.
Welcome to another episode of the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. This is Sam and Joku, joined as always with Kevin Oestreicher, talking Ravens football. It has been a crazy bit of hours since, that 24-hour mark, because we've been talking about it 24 hours before the trade deadline. We thought, the Ravens aren't going to make any moves, and lo and behold, the Ravens do, in fact, make a move. We'll talk about it. The Ravens trade for EDGE Dre'Mont Jones from the Tennessee Titans. We'll talk about that. Are the Ravens done making moves in general? We'll have another conversation regarding that. I'm going to give some midseason awards for the Ravens. We're about the midseason point. Some superlatives to give out. Plenty of Ravens talk ahead of you. We're going to get started with the Ravens trading for EDGE Dre'Mont Jones. But we got somebody on the line who maybe have a little bit of things to say about him. Somebody who's very familiar, soon to be familiar with Draymond Jones. And that's our buddy, Nick Moore. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Oh, Nick.
Gentlemen, how's it going? Good to be here.
Yes.
Glad to have you back. We got a little breaking news instant reaction edition with you here. Look at this.
Yeah, oh no, did I freeze?
Oh, did we get the camera?
Hold on.
Oh.
No.
Wait. I think.
Hold on.
I think you might be able to fix.
I can do this. Yeah.
Maybe. Tech genius Nick Moore. You got to live up to the nickname now.
I can do this.
Yep, it's coming. For those listening in, Nick Moore is trying to get his camera set up. He's going to do it. I have faith. He seems pretty confident.
I am. Hold on.
Oh,
Let's
wait.
see. Come on.
We're getting there.
Nick. Do I have to? All right.
There's a running joke, Nick, in the meantime, that Q's internet has been
Q's
a little
is rough.
Yeah. Primetime said you're using Q's internet. So that's funny.
I probably am.
But I think it's a camera.
I say it's got to. There we go.
Oh,
there we go.
Yes.
Yes.
I told you I could figure it out. Dude.
Never a doubt. Never a doubt. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot immediately, Nick, and ask you about this. I'm sure throughout the locker room, you guys have probably talked about potentially something going on with a player being added in. What are your thoughts about the Ravens bringing in some edge up? I know you're in special teams, but, the Ravens trying to get some more edge rush help, trying to get after the quarterback. And, the goal is still the same for a lot of Ravens fans to reach that postseason. What are your thoughts about this guy?
I don't think it's any secret that we're very limited in the edge. I feel like the last, 2, 3, 4 games, we've had about 3 guys playing edge, and 2 of those guys haven't played a lot of football. I mean, Mike is a rookie. David Ajabo hasn't played a ton of football, even though he's been in the organization now, let's say 3 years, but 1 year he was out because he was hurt, and then he was hurt again in 2023. So he hasn't played a lot of football, especially at edge, kind of playing the majority of the snaps on defense now. So, and then the third guy we have is Kyle Van Noy, who's a pass rush specialist, and he's been asked to do a lot more stuff than I think he has done recently in the last few years. So, anytime we can get help, it's huge. I actually was texting my buddy on the Titans, and I was like, "Hey, what do you guys know? What do you got for me about Draymond?" He's like, "Dude," he literally said, "You're gonna love him. Great teammate, great player, perfect fit for the Ravens." So I'm excited to have him. I think he's going to be a huge addition for us. Obviously, we. All the help we can get, especially when it comes to getting after the quarterback. We haven't been as good as we've been in the last few years at getting, sacks and things like that. But I think the guys that we have are getting more experience. They're playing a lot more, get more opportunities, and we've been doing better as of late. But we're still limited in as far as how many guys that we have available. So adding another guy like that, a experienced player, a veteran player who's extremely talented. I don't know a ton about him other than what my buddy told me. So I'm excited to see what he looks like. Hopefully I'll meet him tomorrow at our meetings and then see him out on the field on Wednesday. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, one of the things about Dre'Mont, Nick, that I think is really cool. So he started his career actually out on the D line, like he was a straight up D lineman, and has since transitioned over to the edge. He kind of dropped some weight, so he has like the inside outside versatility.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so cool what the defense in particular does with like all these guys playing all over the field. Obviously, Kyle is kind of the biggest embodiment of that with how he can move all over Kyle Hamilton. But I mean, watching all these guys be able to play all these different positions, and like I know the Ravens for years have loved to like drop these guys back into coverage and like all these different responsibilities. Like, how has that been like to see, especially like with Kyle in particular, and Dre'Mont's another one of these guys that you can line up all over the field, seeing them take on so many roles?
I looked him up on Google right after Kevin, you told me that we traded for him. And I looked him up. I was like, man, this guy's huge. Like, just in like one of the pictures on Google, he's like flexing. And I'm like, hey, this guy's a big boy. So I'm not surprised he played interior D line, which it helps. It helps for the edge stuff. So, but as far as what our defense does, I think Kyle is the perfect example. That guy literally can play any position on the field. He rushes the passer. He downhill run stopper. He can cover the slots. He can cover the backs. He can go out wide and cover a corner if he has to. He can play deep safety. So that guy can literally do it all. He's the perfect Swiss Army knife. And we try to do that with a lot of guys. I mean, look at last year. Mike Pierce dropped into coverage, got an interception week 18 against the Browns. So anybody on our defense has to be ready to play any position that we have as far as the responsibilities of that position. Obviously, they're not, Kyle's not putting his hand in the dirt like Travis Jones is, but he's still rushing the quarterback. He's still playing up in the ball, trying to stop the run, doing a lot of different things. So this is going to be another perfect ad for us for having a guy with the versatility to get after the passer, to hold the gaps on the run game, and also be able to drop in coverage and maybe help out covering some of those inside routes with the tight ends and the running backs like that. So I think it's going to be, it could be the makings of a great defense for us, and him being a huge ad, continuing to build and make our team better.
Yes, for sure. Just to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You made a great point, Nick, earlier about what is being asked of these outside linebackers right now, currently the edge guys, because it's not just about rushing the passer. A lot of guys are setting the edge to stop the run. A lot of guys are sitting back to try and, prevent these big passers from, getting to the outside. So there's a lot of more responsibilities these guys are getting. And guys like Mike Green, who I think was going to be more of a pass rush specialist in the early goings of his career, is now being asked to do a lot more because of the limitation with the number of pass rushers you guys have currently. How is Mike Green adapting to that? Because, again, he's getting a lot of snaps. Me and Kevin talked before the season that we didn't expect a lot of snaps for Mike Green. Initially, he'll probably ramp up. He's being asked to do a lot. He's risen to the occasion in the last 2 weeks, 2 straight sacks. How's Mike Green feeling? I know there's a lot of rookies out there being asked to do a lot more for this team because of the injuries early on. How would you assess how he's progressed?
I think Mike was thrown into the fire in football and probably in most professional sports. The easiest way to learn is by doing it. So getting thrown into the fire, there's going to be some hiccups. I mean, the guy's a rookie, and there's a learning curve to the NFL from coming from college, and he probably thought that he was going to be a primarily third down pass rusher, with him and Kyle being kind of our specialist guys, and now both of them are being asked to play first and second down as well. And it's a lot more responsibility in it, and the fatigue factor is in there, and it's harder. The more snaps you're playing, the harder you're out, the longer you're out there, the more difficult it becomes. And I think the more opportunities you have to either do good or do bad. And I think, Mike learned a lot in the first couple of games, and I feel like he's done extremely well the entire season. Obviously, coming alive in these last 2 games has been a real big ad for us as far as getting to the quarterback, because we haven't had a ton of that. And a lot of it has to do with just not having people out there. Defense has been on the field a lot during the games. We haven't been able to rotate guys. There hasn't been that revolving door. So, for Mike, I think he's getting much more comfortable in the defense. He's getting much more comfortable playing in the National Football League. And I think we've seen a lot of what is to come for Mike Green. I think he's going to be a very special very talented guy down the line. The more he gets to play and the more experience he gets, he's just going to continue to get better and better. So I'm excited to see him continue to grow and continue to develop and then start to be kind of a leader on that line. I know he's a younger guy, but at this point, he's played just as much as anybody on our team right now. So, anybody can step up and take charge and be a leader and kind of be that playmaker for us. And I think we've seen it a lot on defense with, Teddy Buchanan being rookie defensive player of the month in October. Malachi Starks has been, he's starting on defense. He's been asked to now he's starting on PP on punt. He's asked to do a lot more on special teams. I think we've seen a lot out of this rookie class so far that there's a lot of things that we can be really proud of, and just know that they're going to continue to work. They're going to continue to get better. They're going to understand the game more. They're going to get more comfortable playing at this level, and they're just going to mesh better with the guys that have been here for a while. So I think there's a lot of upside coming for us, especially on defense, and I'm really excited to see where these young guys go and where we go as a whole.
I've always been curious, Nick, because the trade deadline it's a really interesting time because obviously so many guys can be on the move. And, for you guys this year, it hasn't just been about bringing players in. You've also Ravens have traded away a couple of guys at Afe Owe as well as Jair Alexander over the weekend. What you going through it now? I mean, you're the grizzled vet now in that special teams room, and, you've been around for a while. You've gone through these trade deadlines before. What's kind of not necessarily the mood, but kind of like, what's the vibe around the team in general when it comes to a trade deadline? It's just kind of business as usual, focusing on your jobs. But, especially with some of these younger players, is there any sense of like you as a leader now taking on the role of being like, hey, this is how it goes. This is the business. Like, is there any different messaging, or is it just like business as usual?
I mean, I think it's business as usual. I came into the league during COVID. There wasn't a ton of transactions that year just because the way the system was working with the COVID testing and being in the COVID protocol and all that stuff. So I didn't really understand it quite as much. And then in 2021, it was like a revolving door of players because we lost all three of our running backs in training camp. Right. We had guys coming in and out, at running back. I feel like we played 10 guys at running back that season. It's just a constant revolving door at this league because you're always trying to piece together the team as you go because of injuries. I mean, look at 21. We had like 40 guys on IR throughout the season, and you don't have a choice. I remember we played the Bengals in 2021. Josh Johnson came in, started quarterback for us that game. We had picked up Daryl Worley off the street on Friday afternoon, started in the game on Sunday against them. And granted, we got beat up pretty good by the Bengals, but we were you're just piecing together the team because you got injuries, you got, guys don't fit, guys aren't playing well. A lot of things happen at this level. And Eric and his team, they do a really good job of constantly making sure that, if there's any way that we can make our team better, that they're going to go out and get it done. And it's no secret that we needed a guy to help on the pass rush and help in that interior D line. We lost Tavius, Adisa, Beeks, Brody. I mean, Travel's out for a little bit. I mean, we lost basically our entire starting defensive line. And then now you got Kyle, who's a third down specialist, really having to play first and second down. Like, we need more guys to help, and they know that. And so they did a really good job of getting a great player and, trying to continue to build that roster to the championship level roster that, we know that we have because we already have a really good, strong nucleus of our team. And now it's continuing to add pieces to make our team better. And it's hard for guys who first time going through it, or they've never really been in this situation, or they're friends with, certain people and they get traded away. Like, it's tough, but I'm 32. I've been playing professional sports since I was 18 years old. I mean, you understand the longer you're in it, it's a business. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning. And, I have had friends of mine who were teammates that got cut, got traded. I've been cut, multiple times and lost, basically lost friendships just because you lose contact with those people. And that's just, at the end of the day, that is part of being a professional athlete. That is the life that we chose. And it's a sad reality to the game because that's just the way it goes. And it's hard. especially for like the families and stuff, it takes time to develop relationships, and then it's over in an instant. It's like, and that's happened countless times, and that's just part of it. And you have to continue to learn that, understand that, and move on, and just say, hey, I have a job to do. We have a job to do as a team. We're trying to win. Eric, John, Steve, all those guys, they're just trying to help us win as many games as we can. And they see a lot of things that we don't see. And so now we're kind of gelling together and getting going, and they're doing a great job. And I'm excited that they haven't given up. We've played 8 games. We're 3-5. They're making moves at the trade deadline because nobody in our organization has given up. We're trying to win games, and we still, our goal is still to win the division, make the playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. And all those goals are still attainable. And, our ownership and our leadership is saying that we're here to fight, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we are competitive, and then that we give ourselves the best chance to accomplish the goals that we set out to accomplish back in August.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the message has been sent. This trade definitely shows that the Ravens are not giving up. You can see it when you guys have played, especially the last 2 games. You guys have not given up at all. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. The second half of the season should be a doozy, especially with guys like Draymond Jones coming in. And shout outs to the special teams unit. I mean, Jordan Stout, probably the best punter in the NFL. I mean, we talked about Jordan Stout before the season started, you and I, and look at him now. He's one of the best. He might be a Pro Bowler, and you might be joining him along with Tyler Lupe, who's only missed
There's
one
the
kick.
agenda right there.
Let's get the agenda going. Yes, get Nick Moore in the Pro Bowl. So much appreciated for you guys, especially for you guys, leading the charge with this team. There's been a lot of influx, and hopefully we get you back on the show pretty soon. I know you got to go, but when we come back, we'll talk a little more Ravens football. This trade is huge. What other moves could the Ravens make? We'll talk to you here next on the Locked On Ravens Squad Show.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
I was on mute. We are back here with the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. I thought that Nick Moore was done, but he's not. He's still joining us. He's back. He got time for us.
I'm here.
He's not too big time.
Yeah, I got a little bit more time. Yeah, got a little bit.
All
more.
Right. Let's talk a little more about it. Yes, this works out perfectly for us because I did want to get into the special teams unit, and I do want to talk about Tyler Lupe and Jordan Stout and yourself. You guys have been consistent throughout the season, kicking it into high gear, knocking things out of the park. Jordan Stout has made punts that I have never seen him make as a Raven, and I've watched all of his punts. You talked about how he has improved his mark throughout the offseason, and we've seen what Tyler Lupe has been able to do. As the long snapper, talk about how these two guys have gone in, because you have the dirty work, you have the task of making sure everything's perfect before the kick. But talk about what these two have done throughout the season and even during the offseason to get them ready for the season and how they performed extraordinarily well.
I think we see, especially with Jordan, he's been here. This is year 4 for him. I saw it, in the last season, into the offseason, the maturing, the desire to get better, the realization that I haven't been, where I wanted to be. And then he went about his work this offseason to really make an adjustment. He added in what we've seen a lot of this year is that boomerang punt. He's added in that's made him a lethal weapon. I mean, we saw in Miami, that guy didn't even want to try to catch that ball. He immediately was basically fair catching it, or telling his guy, he was like doing the double point, telling the guys to get away from the ball. And, for him, I started seeing it this offseason and into training camp. Like, I've worked with Jordan now since 2022, and I've seen punts from him in practice and even in the preseason that I don't know if I've ever seen from anybody. And the thing with Jordan has been, it's like, can we carry this over to the real game? And, we had glimpses early in the season. Last year we had some really good glimpses of him. And then he had on the end of the season, didn't play as well as he would have liked. I know he was upset with that. But as the season goes on, the weather gets going, it becomes a lot more difficult to be successful in those moments. So, and that's kind of what we're building towards this year, knowing that, hey, the weather's about to take a turn. We go to Minnesota next week or this coming week. We're going to be inside, but after that, we're not going to have a game above 50 degrees the rest of the season. And the wind picks up in the winter in Baltimore. We got Green Bay in December. We got Pittsburgh in January. We go to Cincinnati in December. There's going to be some weather. And so we're working towards that, knowing that that's coming. But what I've seen from him, especially these last 3 or 4 games, we haven't had a ton of opportunities, right? So we played let's talk about this. We had 18 punts going into Miami. So in 6 games, what were we? Yeah, we were 2-5. No, we were 2-5. So in 7 games, we had 18 punts. That's 2.5 punts a game. It's really hard to get your groove and get your mojo if you're punting. For instance, the Rams game, we punted once. The Chiefs game, we punted once. Houston or Chicago, we punted twice. Houston, we punted 3 times. Bills, we punted 3 times. The only game that we punted a significant number of times before Miami was Cleveland. One of the first game we won, we punted 5 times in the first half, and then we didn't punt at all in the second half. So it's hard to get into a groove and get your confidence when you're not getting a ton of opportunities. But one of the things I think Jordan has done a great job at is I haven't had a ton of opportunities, but he worked in the bye week. He worked in his off time. He came back, had a really good game against Chicago, finally gets an opportunity against Miami to have a decent amount of punch throughout the course of the game. And I saw that maturity go from the first punt to the last punt. He was locked in every single one, even the one that we gave up the big return on. It was still a really good punt. We missed 5 tackles or 4 tackles. So, it's not his fault that they had 43 yards. It's our fault as a coverage unit. He hit a 58-yard punt and then made the tackle. And so it's like Gunner missed a tackle. I missed a tackle. A couple of the interior guys missed a tackle. And that's our fault. So, but I feel like for him, he's getting his confidence. He loves that boomerang punt. It's very difficult for guys to catch. And we've seen that, basically the whole season. I don't know if anyone's actually caught it in the air. And that's become a weapon for us. And he's getting comfortable with that. He's getting confident with that. He's taking that into his other punts. Had a really good pooch the other night in Miami. And so I just want to continue to see him. I want him to continue to go on this route, continue to get better, continue to focus on those little details, continue to, iron out everything. Don't take a single play off, be locked in the whole game. And I know he's got the potential to be a Pro Bowler. And I hope for him, he continues to do this because I think he will be a Pro Bowler, as good of a season as he's having so far. And again, with Tyler, moving on with him, I think we've seen a ton of maturity, over the course of 8 games. He's doing the kickoff that he's never done. He's been really trying to work on some of those things. They've been asking him to do a lot with the kickoff stuff. I know he hasn't been as successful as he would have liked to be or had some of the kicks where he wanted them to be, but he's continuing to work, continuing to get better at that. And I think it's becoming, we're seeing it more and more consistently. Now that offense is moving well, we're getting a lot more chances to have these kickoffs. So he's growing there. Every time he gets asked to go out on field goal, man, he's been locked in. The one kick he missed, that 55-yarder right before half against Houston, that's a tough kick, man. For your first 55-yard field goal, you love to make it, but at the end of the day, I think he's done a really good job with all of his other kicks. He's been laser focused throughout the game, and he's continuing to get comfortable. It kind of goes back to that Mike Green and Malachi and Teddy talk. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities to play yet. We haven't been asked to kick a ton of field goals. We've kicked a lot, but we haven't had a lot of big, I would say, big field goals as far as like distance wise. So he's just continuing to hack, continuing to get better. And I think he's going to have, as the weather gets changing, it's going to get a lot harder, but that's where kickers are defined by, is that how you do in November, how you do in December, how you do in January. So I think Tyler's going to continue to do what he's been doing. He's going to have a great season. I'm excited to, it makes my job, makes me look good when they do good. So that's all I can really do, and just try to give them the best opportunities to be successful and help them in any way that I can. And both of them have done a fantastic job.
Yeah. So I have two questions. One, you mentioned the weather, how it's going to get a little harder. Obviously the weather's going to drop because, for some positions, it's like, all right, the weather, it doesn't impact it as much. But for you guys, obviously, there's a lot that goes into the weather getting colder. Can you kind of specify what that actually is? Because I think that, it's a underrated thing that some people don't know about, because when that weather drops, that ball gets colder and you start to have to kick something that's a little colder. There's more of an impact than people might think.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see kind of how it plays out this year, because of the new K-ball rule, we get to use our balls in practice and we get to break them in on our own. So I think that it might be slightly different than it has been in the past, but I mean, all that to be said, when it gets cold outside, the weather gets harder, the ball doesn't compress more, which means it doesn't travel further. It's harder to, get really good foot to ball on it. There's a lot of things that come into play. And then you look at the Northeast, when it gets colder, the wind picks up, the precipitation picks up, whether that's rain or snow. The ground is harder. So the footing that they get, because these guys are, when they're, especially like Tyler, when he's going in to kick a field goal or a kickoff, like, I don't think people understand how hard and fast his plant foot is going into the ground. And if the ground is hard and he can't get his studs in, it becomes really difficult to get stationary and get yourself into a position to execute your job. And so I think, we're going to see that kind of plays into it. And then like, as it gets going, it just becomes, your body doesn't work as well. Like when it's cold, like your joints are tighter, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into that and makes it more difficult. But I'll stand on this till the day that I die. And one of the reasons I think Justin was so good for so long is the only thing people care about is how well you do in November, December, and January. And that's where legends are made, especially in the kicking unit, because everybody knows it is extremely hard to play in these games. I mean, Green Bay in December is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Pittsburgh in January is going to be very hard. Cincinnati in December is hard. Heck, Cleveland in 2 weeks is going to be hard. All of our, in our stadium, all the games that we're going to have in our stadium at the end of the season, they're all going to be hard. And that's where I like to say this. This is why I get paid, is to play in these games, because number one, they're big games. Late in the season, you got playoff implications, you got division game implications, you got home field advantage, you got all that stuff lined up. And two, it's just hard. It's cold, it's wet, it's windy, the ball's hard. There's all that stuff that goes into it that makes it difficult to be successful at the end of the season. But that's when you have to be successful in order for your team to win games. We know as the season goes on, guys get tired on offense and defense. Points aren't necessarily there the way that they are at the beginning of the season or when it's warm outside. Every time that we go out to kick a field goal, we're putting points on the board. That can win or lose us the game. And that is the utmost important thing that we can do. And that is my most important job, is to get points on the board. And that helps our team win games. That helps us win divisions. That helps us win playoff games. And that helps us win Super Bowls. And that's what we're here to do. And I cannot wait, because I personally I'm a psychopath now that I've been here 6 years.
No way.
I enjoy playing in the cold more than I enjoy playing in the heat.
Ooh.
I am just, because I know most of our games are cold.
Yeah.
And that's just, I didn't have a choice but to own that and learn how to play. Because when I first got here, brother, I'm from Georgia. I did not like below 40. I was anything in college. The coldest game I ever played was probably like 65.
Yeah.
Because in December or January, we're playing inside, whether it's Mercedes-Benz, in Atlanta, or we're playing down in the Caesars Dome down in New Orleans, or we're playing in Florida. Like those, we didn't have a lot of cold games. So I had to learn, very quickly that if I'm going to be good at this level, especially in Baltimore, I got to be good at playing in the weather. I got to be good at playing in the cold. And I think I look at all my seasons I've played, the games that are ingrained in my head are games I played in November, late November, December, and January. Those are the games that matter the most, and those are the games that I've personally done the best in. So I can't wait for it to get a little bit chillier out here.
Man, yeah, I'm a warm weather person too. You got me fired up about going out there to some cold weather games, man. I mean, sheesh. It's yeah, I mean, you're right. The majority of the games here are going to be colder. So that mindset, I think, is really important to have. We actually just had a blocked punt touchdown in the Monday Night Football game. The Cowboys blocked the punt and returned it for a I mean, it was the ball bounced into the end zone. The guy just picked it up and it was a touchdown. But
good for him.
Yeah. So that's another thing. But I did want to, before we get you out of here, I know you have to go after this. You obviously were a part of history in Detroit with Justin with the 66-yarder, and that record was broken over the weekend by Cam Little, Jacksonville Jaguars, right before the half. I mean, what did you see from him on that kick? Because you being a part of one of those massively long kicks and being a part of history, and then seeing Cam Little do it with the leg that he had. I mean, we know he can kick it far, but I'm curious if you had any thoughts on that play.
You know, I think first and foremost, huge shout out to Cam Little, Logan Cook, and Ross Matisic. Perfect operation. You know, making the longest field goal in NFL history is just something that, you know, from experience, it is something that's so special. And it kind of got me like, it was in my fourth game. You know, that kick is the reason I have Instagram. That kick is the reason I do the meet. Like, there's a lot of stuff that came from that kick. So kudos to those guys. And they executed it in preseason, hit the 70-yarder in preseason. Yeah. And I said, and before the NFL season started with the new K-ball rule, I said it was only a matter of time before our record was broken. However, we are still the longest game-winning field goal in NFL history. So
there you
have
go.
that on our back. But no, anytime you have a kick like that, man, everything has to be perfect. You have to have a perfect snap. You have to have a perfect hold. You got to get laces right. You got to hit the spot. Kicker has to have a perfect play. He's got to hit the ball just in the right spot to get the distance with the height to get it over the line of scrimmage, because that's where those longer kicks is where they get blocked right up the middle, because you got to have a little bit lower trajectory. So, you know, Cam and those guys, it was a truly remarkable effort. Love to see it, honestly, because it's just, I knew that it was going to happen, and I know that there's longer kicks that are coming. It's a matter of time before Brandon Aubrey hits a 70-yard field goal. Like, let's be honest, those kicks are they're so few and far between, because you have to have the perfect storm of, it's got to be end of half. You got to have timeout to set it up. It's got to be end of game. You got to be losing by less than 3. Like, there's all these things that go into getting the opportunity to go out there and execute a kick like that. And then when you get that opportunity, being able to execute it is a whole nother difficult challenge that, you know, you have to tackle. And for those guys to go out there and do it, man, that's freaking awesome. I love watching it. Cam is really, you know, kind of put himself in a different category this year. You know, even back in preseason, he's done a fantastic job. He's got a really good operation that probably makes it a little bit easier for him, but you still got to go out there and make those kicks. And I love seeing it. And I cannot wait to see, you know, for him and those guys, I personal friends with Logan and Ross. And I know those two guys are Pro Bowlers, and they're best in the biz at their job. So I really am excited to watch what they can do going forward. And who knows, maybe we'll get an opportunity to do the same thing here in a couple of weeks. So it's just a matter of, you know, get a perfect storm. Like I said, you got to get the opportunity before you can go out there and do it.
I did put a tweet out after the Cam Little kick came in. So don't worry about it. Tyler Loop's going to kick a 70-yarder next week. So get a chance against the Vikings.
Somebody's going to do it. I'm telling you, somebody is going to hit a 70-yard field goal. And that's kind of it's like the race to 70 is like on now. Like, there was 66. Close. Okay, there's 4 yards until 70. Somebody had to hit one between 66 and 69, you know, to kind of give everybody, all right. And he hammered it too. That ball was deep.
That from 70
it didn't
72.
It didn't hit the crossbar. You know, I always hit the crossbar and went in, but it you know, you make it. But he hammered that ball. It'll be interesting to see who the first guy is that gets a 70-yarder, because it's coming. My bet's on Brandon Aubrey or Tyler Loop. So
I like it. I like it. One of those two guys are definitely going to get it. I was at the Vikings game in the stands. Well, not the Vikings, the Lions game in the stands when you guys kicked the 66-yarder. It hit right in the crossbar. I was right there watching it. Oh, man. I darn near had an asthmatic attack running down the steps in the celebration. Oh, yeah. And you guys were going crazy. I almost jumped on the field. Harbaugh would have killed me, of course. But, would have been good to see. But, yeah, Nick, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you, Nick.
Yeah, I know it's really late and you got a lot of planning to do for that Vikings game. You guys traveling over to Minnesota, so appreciate you so much for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. When we come back, we will talk a little more about this Ravens trade. Draymond Jones, officially a Raven. Ravens haven't announced, or at least I don't believe so, but it is official as it's going to get before the paper is signed. When we come back, we'll have Q join us, talk a little more Ravens football here next on the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. The part finder tools with 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real services. We are back with the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. Let me get rid of this ad for you guys watching live. There you go. Feeling good. Ravens are going to have Draymond Jones in his services, hopefully for that Vikings contest. I think Q's available. Let's see if we can get Q on here. Don't want to put him on the spot. Q, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can.
Yes, we can. We see a picture too. It's like you're here on camera with us anyway.
Well, I was at the Purple Evening event that the Ravens hold every year. It was at M&T Bank Stadium, and for the fan base that is not here local, they do it every year where they have the ladies of the Ravens fan base have an evening to themselves, and they have a lot of active players as well as former players like myself. We go and sit and talk and hang and sign autographs, take pictures. The field had full access tonight, so all the ladies were running around the field. They were doing different drills for them, kicking field goals. One lady, holy moly, you talk about the 68-yarder. Obviously, Nick Moore was talking about the process of it, but there were some ladies that was kicking it right through the uprights down at M&T. And man, they weren't easy kicks. So a lot of fun. Myself, Jermaine Lewis, Jake Hummel, and Keaton. Literally, we all did Family Feud.
Oh no!
It's hilarious.
Did you win? Did you win?
Of course, I had to represent the Squad Show. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Squad Show in full effect. Squad Show in full effect. Oh yeah. So it was fun. It was a blast. But yeah, so we're undefeated. We're undefeated, and it was interesting because the news broke, obviously, that Draymond Jones was traded to the Ravens, and we here on the Squad Show, we've been talking what kind of moves that EDC needed to make, and obviously it was all about the O-line, D-line, and clearly he made a strong push from a aspect of what Zach Ward needed, which was a third reliable safety, Alohi Gilman, but then recognizing still there's work to be done after the Dolphins game, and saw that, yeah, if they get that rush in, that's going to also, again, solidify the defense, and it'll be interesting to see what we'll have with Lawson hopefully active this week as well.
Yeah, big time. Do you think that the Ravens are done making moves? Do you think that the Ravens could possibly add an additional piece. And no, we've been talking about guard a lot, maybe an interior defensive lineman, even though Draymond Jones has that versatility to play both inside and on the edge.
Well, I'm hoping they do something offensive line wise. I know that if you're talking, Titans, and obviously Zeitler, what the heck? Like, bring him. Come on now. Let's not sit back and, be all dainty about it. That would be a great fit. But I do also recognize that if you can, again, get an interior D lineman, when you're talking bigger picture and trying to make a run, you got to stop the run. You got to stop the Patrick Mahomeses, Josh Allen's. You got to stop those teams from imposing their will on your team. You got to get the ball back. And if you can, then I think that's where your team, obviously the Ravens, you're going to have an advantage. And so to me, it's, yes, offensive line first, but I'm not going to be complaining if they do make another move and if they can get a valuable veteran D lineman.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, they shouldn't be done making moves at all. I think that the Ravens, they need more than this. Like, this is a good it reminds me of Nelson Aguilar in 2023 when they signed Nelson Aguilar and everyone's like, all right, this is a move, but it can't be the move. And so they brought in Odell Beckham Jr. And, you live with that, right? Now, Quinnen Williams is the guy for me. Like, yeah, I think that Quinnen Williams, you can trade a second and a fifth or a third and a fifth for Quinnen Williams. And then, maybe outside, maybe it's like an offensive lineman after that. Like you get a Kevin Zeitler or Cesar Ruiz. Now, I don't expect them to make like 5 moves. They have draft capital, but like they did with this move, they have to let it work for them. And I think that that's something that the Ravens were projected to have 5 fifth-round picks. You move off of one that could also turn into a fourth for a guy that can play on the interior and outside on the edge. He is more of an edge guy at this point, but by itself, I think it's it's okay. Like, it's a fine move. But when you add it into the rest of the deadline, that's where I'm curious to see what the final haul for Baltimore is going to end up being, because I still think you need someone interior. Honestly, I think you need both, but I'm not expecting them to make 2. I'd probably expect one more move. 2 would be great, but I'm probably expecting one more. Now, how big that move is going to be the biggest question, because you could make a move for Quinnen Williams or some of those other big names, Jermaine Johnson or Dexter Lawrence or Thibodeau or any of those guys. Or it could be for like a Judon or, I don't know, I know Mazzy Smith's name. Yeah, Calais Campbell. That's another good one. Like one of those guys where you're probably getting like just the year from them. But you also can factor in the fact that, like, these guys can play in Baltimore. Like Draymond Jones is an expiring deal. But if he works out and he has a great second half of Baltimore, they can bring him back and sign him to a deal. So there are multiple layers to it, but I think that the Ravens should be in the market for more interior help. I think that Draymond Jones is a good start. Alohi Gilman is a good start. They essentially swapped out Owe for Jones, and then also were able to add Gilman in that deal. Jones can set the edge. He can be available on first down to help you do that, and that hopefully frees up some stuff for Mike Green. And obviously we were talking to Nick about that in the first part of the show with Mike Green, but the Ravens shouldn't be done. If they are, I'd be decently disappointed. I think one more move at least has to happen.
I love that Quinnen Williams thought process because he's so young. I mean, that would be not only a now type move, but it would also be a future move. Oh my gosh, that would settle me even if we didn't get an offensive lineman, because I'm hoping that from an O-line aspect of things, Emory Jones will somehow pan out. That's what I'm hoping.
And I think that's what Ravens are hoping for too. I haven't heard much in the way of getting a guy, and the fact that they traded for Draymond Jones and Kevin Zeitler wasn't in that package leads me to believe that he's likely not in the cards to be dealt. Crazy things have happened. Plenty of time between now and that 4 p.m. deadline tomorrow. But I agree with you. I think if the Ravens were to make a move like Quinnen Williams, that would be perfect. KO, I think you have something to say to that.
I said this on the instant reaction show I did before we popped on here. I'm just surprised the Titans made a trade with the Ravens. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We all remember what happened a couple of years ago with Derrick Henry. We all know what happened, and he was coming to Baltimore, then all of a sudden he wasn't. And that was the whole thing. That was like, all right, well, Zeitler, Jones, Arden Key, like Jeffrey Simmons. Okay, that's great to think about, but Tennessee and Baltimore, I mean, that whole thing happened a couple of years ago. Were they actually going to make a trade here? And so that to me is one of the more shocking things to come out of this is, wow, the Ravens and Titans can actually trade with each other. Look at that.
They all can be kumbaya, be friends when one team sucks and the other team doesn't. I mean, hey, that's how it is, you know? Like, I think for Derrick Henry, though, too, you're also looking at a legacy type player. So you would rather, him, bow out at the end of the year, make you look good as an organization, because at some point in time, you want some other free agents to come aboard. So I think that was more optics than anything. Yeah. But I will also say, how about Chubbs down in Miami? There's not been a move from what you guys have known on him yet, has there?
Nope, not yet.
Man, come on now, Edie. You trying to make up for Dafe almost, and he has somehow revitalized his career. Homeboy did a spin move to get a sack. I haven't seen him do a spin move since he was spoiling. I got bigger and eating more food and got more muscle going down to Miami and working out with whomever he worked out with. That's all well and good. Looks like he is in a better space and place when we get Chubb. Wow, I would be jumping for joy. Him and Q Williams, ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's where you can look at making a strong run defensively that is like no other. And I think that's where your offense, it just feeds off of that. That's that upper echelon type of move. Oh, please do it. Let's get it done.
Well, we're going to find out shortly. The trade deadline is approaching. Tomorrow's the trade deadline. Hopefully the Ravens make a move like that. Man, can you imagine Bradley Chubb on one end, Draymond Jones on another end, Quentin Williams in the middle? You got, Calvin Noah coming in on third down along with Mike Green. Finally having a consistent pass rush. Oh, my goodness, that'll be fantastic. We'll see what happens. When we come back, we're going to touch on some midseason awards for the Ravens. This is a little entryway between talking about the Packers game on Wednesday and the Dolphins game that just ended on Thursday. So it's the midway point of the season. Let's see who we give out some awards to. Love to get KO and Q's thoughts here next on the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here talking about FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, we are back here with the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. Q's on the line, KO's hanging out. We're talking the big-time Ravens trade that the Ravens just made for Draymond Jones. It is partly, we're getting there. We talked about, the Ravens need to make one more move to make this team, that Super Bowl team that we thought coming into the season. As Nick Moore mentioned, lots and lots of injuries up front. The whole defensive line had been decimated with injuries. Nnamdi Madubuike, we don't know if he'll be back. He's out for the season for sure. We talked about Travis Jones being injured for a little bit of time. Calvin Noy and Mike Green having to step up because of the injuries to Tavius Robinson. It's been crazy here, but that doesn't mean there haven't been good things to talk about. We're at the midseason point. The Ravens are 3-5. You'd love them to be 5-3 or better, but they are 3-5 with a chance to get ahead. KO, I will start with you. Give me the offensive player of the year in U.S. men through 8 games, and that player cannot be Lamar Jackson. I'm not giving you Lamar Jackson. Q, you're in the wings for the next question. I'm not giving you Lamar Jackson either. Who's your offensive player of the year? Kevin, I'll start with you.
Oh, that's so disrespectful.
I know.
It can be Lamar just based off of how they played without him outside of that Bears game. But, I will go. I feel like I want to say Derrick Henry, but I think that I am going to say Derrick.
There you go.
Say Derrick. I was debating about Zay Flowers because he's been the dominant target share guy in that offense so far. But I mean, even though Derrick has had some tough games, I don't think that's necessarily on Derrick as much as it has been on the offensive line, because I've said that, look, you can be Lamar Jackson, you can be Derrick Henry, doesn't matter who you are. If you can't block up front, it's going to be really hard to go anywhere consistently. So, I mean, Derrick on the season has been really good for the Ravens again. And despite the fact that, he had a couple of rough games, that Texans game certainly comes to mind. I mean, he's still averaging 4.9 yards per carry. He has 6 touchdowns on the ground. He's coming off a game where, even though he struggled early in that Miami game to get anything going, he ended up averaging 6.3 yards per rush. His ability as a closer, I know they've only won 3 games this season, but, running Derrick Henry in that fourth quarter as the defense gets tired and, is getting worn down, Derrick Henry to me is that guy. So I almost said Zay, but I'm going to go with Derrick Henry.
Well, are you asking me what my MVP, or is there another question?
No, I'm asking your MVP for the offense. Go for it.
Okay, because KO just took all my notes and just there has to be Derrick Henry, because if I look at it, offensive line, no one. Receivers, yes, you say Zay, but he had, a tough go at it as well. The tight ends, I would probably tight end group it, because really there was no necessary tight end that was shining. And that's kind of the entire offense. So, Lamar, obviously his body of work in a small sample size, it's there, but he got injured as well. So, yeah, the logical choice has to be Derrick Henry.
I thought you were going to say Charlie Kohler, Q. I thought you were going to stick that one in there.
So, it's interesting that I would have said not necessarily offensive MVP, but I would have been more along the lines of most improved player. So
true, right?
Giving it to him as far as all the things that he had to overcome. Plus, he was a valuable target for Cooper Rush and for Tyler. And then clearly what he's been able to show as far as his versatility. So, you know what? You look at what Isaiah Likely having a foot injury in training camp, and they didn't miss a beat because of Charlie Kohler. Charlie Kohler was prepared. Charlie Kohler was in shape. Charlie Kohler was like, all right, you know what? I got to increase my role. No problem. And was able to do it and still playing special teams. There it is.
Yeah, I think Charlie Kohler is that guy. I agree with you. But I definitely didn't want to give you the easy answer of Lamar Jackson. And let's talk about the defense. And I'm not going to give you the easy answer of Kyle Hamilton. So, KO, I'll start with you. Give me the defensive player of the year, at least for the midseason for the Ravens. Not Kyle Hamilton, though. Got to pick somebody else.
I feel like I might be stealing Q's thunder again here.
Oh, you
we'll
are.
See. I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins.
Yeah.
Nate Wiggins is look, man, I have to if I'm not getting the easy answers, I gotta take the next best guy, and that is. But you know what? I'll actually leave Nate Wiggins. I'll let you talk more about him. I won't go on my tangent. I'm gonna say that actually an honorary, maybe third guy is Nnamdi Madubuike. With the impact that he had early in the season.
Yeah.
And, him being the Ravens sack leader. Now they have a new Draymond Jones now is the Ravens sack leader with 4.5 sacks. But players who have gotten sacks in a Ravens uniform, Nnamdi Madubuike, because Mike Green only got that half sack. They didn't credit him with the full one, so he's only at 1.5 right now. Madubuike showed, and value is not just about stats, it's about impact. And I think that we saw the regression from Baltimore, especially when it came to rushing with just 4 and not blitzing. They one of the reasons they needed to trade for Draymond is because of their pass rush after Nnamdi went down. And even, in that Bills game, Josh still had some time to throw, but Nnamdi was that staple on the D-line. So I'll save the Nate Wiggins talk for Q. I will say that Nnamdi is my honorary. Nate is still my pick, but Nnamdi is my honorary defensive MVP for the Ravens this season.
Okay, I'm just letting you know he is not my MVP.
Well, then I could have talked about him. Oh man.
See the NOT, because I am picky when it comes to Nate, and that I know KO has been gushing over him. I am the opposite. Like, man, I appreciated that he had his pick that really flipped the entire script of the Chicago game. Absolutely appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at that Rams game, there were some plays there that he was there and didn't make. When I look at the Bills game, there were some plays there that he didn't make. When I look at the Chiefs game, there were some plays there that he didn't make. When I look at the Lions, and them Lions, they had some good receivers. There were some plays there that he didn't make. So while I appreciate the fact that he has turned it on, I am going to be a contrarian and say it this way. He has a small body of work. And so since I can't say Kyle Hamilton, I'm going to say his fellow domer, Alohi Gilman.
Oh, wow. Love it.
Wow.
Bruh, dude comes in and small sample size and says, this is how you act like a guy who can communicate. We ain't talking Marcus Williams, or we ain't talking Freddie Jackson, Action Jackson, who can't cover a guy when it's cover 0, game on the line against the Cleveland Browns. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about a guy that can come in and actually play. A guy that can come in when it needs to be done, it gets done, and has a turnover. A critical one, because the Miami Dolphins were trying to drive down the field and all of a sudden, nope, not going to do it, and recovers his own strip. So I think from that aspect of it all, and I'll say my runner-up would be Teddy Buchanan. So Teddy, I have been harsh on him, but I do tip my cap to him with the way he, under pressure, had to go green dot, had to right the ship when things weren't looking the greatest. There's still room to grow, but held it down until Rue and Kyle were able to get things right in that second level. Again, still work to be done, but if there was a guy that should be considered honorable mention, Teddy Buchanan, AFC Rookie Defensive Player of the Month.
Sam, what are you? Give us yours. Who's your offense?
And you're going to do that.
Come on, now.
Offense.
You're not getting off the hook.
I'm not. Offense. I'm going to go with Pat Ricard. I think that Pat Ricard, even though he kind of stumbled a little bit in that last game against the Dolphins, he kind of struggled a little bit. But I think go ahead, Q.
No. I'm laughing because you said Pat Ricard, and I'm like, dang it, he got pancaked in that.
He did. He did. Bradley Chubb got him. A guy that could be a Raven, maybe. Wink, wink, EDC. But yeah, he kind of got pancaked. But I think his overall style of play has been missed a ton. And I think even though that Dolphins game going to go the way that he thought, I think that he definitely stepped up big time. And my second pick for the defense, I'm going to go with Malachi Starks, who got his first interception of the season. I know he hasn't been the greatest, but I'm going to keep on my agenda and say he's been asked to do a lot on the back end, and he's finally going to get a chance, I believe, with this 3 safety set to show his stuff. I'm just being a little, agenda driven. He hasn't had the best of seasons, but he's still my guy, Malachi. Best safety coming out that rookie class in 2025.
I like that one. All right. Okay. Because, the demand for him to, although, like I said, they all have holes. They all have holes that, we're like frustrated by. So, his hole was missing a short interception in the Bills game. Yeah. But, okay. You didn't wallow and stick your head in the sand. You were like, all right, bet I got to do better. And he stepped up. So I appreciate the fact that, this is a guy who the more he does, the better he's going to play. So, okay, I like that. I got you.
Thank you, Q. Yeah, I like it. Yes. Malachi Starks, 2025. Let's see what he does in the second half of the season. But again, we've reached the hour mark. Appreciate everyone for joining us. I know Monday Night Football is on, so if you guys are here, you guys are true blue Ravens fans and true blue Locked On Ravens fans. So I appreciate you guys so much for joining. If you're watching live, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening wherever you get your podcast, please be sure to give us 5 stars. We'll be back on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, talking the ramifications of the trade deadline. We think there's going to be more moves on the way for the Ravens. If there are, we'll surely talk about it. If they're not, we'll talk about what kind of consequences are in store for the Ravens because of that. More to come for sure as we get ready for this Minnesota Vikings game. Again, for myself, KO, and Q, thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Locked On Ravens Squad Show, and we will see you on Wednesday.